Welcome, English literature students. Today, we're diving into the world of literary devices at English Mastery Academy. Let's spice up our writing with 15 powerful tools like similes, metaphors, and alliteration. For example, her eyes sparkled like diamonds is a simile, comparing two things using like. So buckle up and get ready to master the art of storytelling with these essential literary devices.
15 common literary devices. Here are some examples of commonly used literary devices. First, metaphor.
Ever heard of metaphors? They're like the spice of literature, adding flavor to words. A metaphor is a figure of speech where you compare two things without using like or as. For example, saying her eyes were sparkling diamonds paints a vivid picture without stating it directly. It's all about creating powerful imagery and making your writing pop. So, next time you read a book, keep an eye out for these hidden gems that bring words to life.
Next, second, simile.
Ever wondered how to spice up your writing like a pro? Let me introduce you to the magical world of similes. Similes are like the secret sauce of literature, adding flavor and depth to your words. They compare two things using like or as. For example, her eyes sparkled like diamonds. See what I did there? So, next time you want to make your writing pop, sprinkle in some similes and watch your words come alive.
Following up is third, imagery.
Imagery in literature is like painting with words. It's when authors use vivid descriptions to create mental pictures in your mind. Think of it as a movie playing out in your head as you read. For example, when a writer describes a sunset as a golden blanket spreading across the sky, that's imagery. It helps you feel like you're right there in the story, experiencing everything the characters are experiencing. So next time you read a book, pay attention to the imagery used. It'll make the story come alive in your imagination.
Next in the queue is fourth, symbolism.
Symbolism in literature is like a hidden treasure hunt. It's when objects or actions represent deeper meanings. For example, a dove can symbolize peace, a red rose can symbolize love, and a storm can symbolize chaos. So next time you read a book, keep an eye out for these sneaky symbols that add layers of meaning to the story. Happy decoding, literature lovers!
Later we are going to see the fifth, irony.
Irony, oh irony. It's like rain on your wedding day, but not really. There are three types: verbal, situational, and dramatic. Verbal irony is when words mean the opposite of what's said. Situational irony is when the opposite of what's expected happens. And dramatic irony is when the audience knows something the characters don't. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, when Juliet takes a potion to fake her death, but Romeo thinks she's really dead. Irony adds spice to literature, keeping you on your toes and making you think twice.
Then following on is the sixth, foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing is like a sneak peek into the future of a story. It's when the author drops subtle hints about what's to come, building suspense and anticipation. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare foreshadows the tragic ending through the prologue. Another classic example is in Harry Potter, where the appearance of the Grim foreshadows danger. So, next time you're reading, keep an eye out for those clever clues that hint at what's ahead.
Next, in the pipeline seventh, allegory.
Allegory is like a hidden treasure chest in English literature. It's when a story or poem has a deeper meaning beyond its surface. Think of it as a secret code waiting to be cracked. For example, in George Orwell's Animal Farm, the animals represent political figures and systems. So, next time you read a piece of literature, keep an eye out for symbols and metaphors that might be allegorical. It's like solving a puzzle within a story.
Afterwards, eighth, alliteration.
Alright, English literature enthusiasts, let's dive into the world of alliteration. Alliteration is when words in a sentence or phrase start with the same sound. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. See how the P sound repeats? It adds a musical quality to the language and makes it more memorable. So, next time you read a poem or a piece of prose, keep an ear out for those repeating sounds. They might just be alliteration at play.
Next, upcoming for you is the 9th. Assonance.
Assonance, a literary device that adds musicality to our language. It's all about those repeated vowel sounds in words. Think of it as the cousin of alliteration, but focusing on vowels. For example, in the phrase "fleet feet sweep by sleeping geese," the long A sound repeats, creating a harmonious effect. So when you hear those echoing vowels in a sentence, that's assonance at play, adding a poetic touch to the words. Explore this beautiful technique in English literature and let your words sing.
Before looking at the next literary device, if you haven't, please subscribe, and if this video is useful for you, give a like and share this with your fellow learners. And thank you, my dear subscribers. In line, we are going to know about the 10th. Consonance.
Consonance in English literature is like a hidden gem that adds a musical touch to words. It's all about the repetition of consonant sounds in close proximity. For example, in the phrase pitter-patter, the repetition of the T sound creates a soothing rhythm. Another example is in the line "fleet feet sweep by sleeping geese," where the repetition of the S sound mimics the sound of movement. Consonance not only enhances the sound of language, but also adds depth and beauty to the text. So next time you read a poem or a piece of prose, listen closely for these harmonious consonant sounds that make the words come alive.
Following this is the 11th. Onomatopoeia.
Ever heard of onomatopoeia? It's when words imitate the sounds they represent. Think buzz for bees or sizzle for bacon. These words bring life to our writing by creating vivid imagery and engaging our senses. So next time you read a comic book or poem, listen for those words that mimic sounds. They add a whole new dimension to the text and make it come alive. Keep your ears open and your imagination running wild.
Next in the queue is the 12th. Hyperbole.
Hyperbole, the queen of exaggeration in literature. Imagine this. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. That's hyperbole in action. It's a literary device where we exaggerate for emphasis or humor. For example, "I've told you 1,000,000 times." Obviously not 1,000,000, but you get the point. Hyperboles make language colorful and fun. So next time you hear someone say, "I'm dying of boredom," remember, it's not literal. Hyperboles making English lit more exciting, one exaggeration at a time.
Next, 13th. Personification.
Personification is like giving human qualities to non-human things. For example, in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, he writes, "When beggars die, there are no comets seen." Here, death is given the human ability to see comets. It helps us connect emotionally with abstract ideas. Another example is in Emily Dickinson's poem, "Because I Could Not Stop for Death," where death is personified as a kind carriage driver. This literary device adds depth and emotion to writing, making it more relatable and engaging. So next time you read a piece of literature, look out for personification. It brings words to life.
Now we are going to learn about the 14th. Euphemism.
Ever heard of euphemisms? They're like sugar-coated words that make the bitter pill of reality easier to swallow. For example, instead of saying "he passed away," we say "he's no longer with us." Softens the blow, right? Another classic euphemism is pre-owned for used cars. It's all about dressing up the truth in nicer clothes. So next time you hear someone say "vertically challenged" instead of "short," you'll know they're using a euphemism.
Lastly, let's look at the 15th one. Oxymoron.
Ever heard of oxymorons? They're not just fancy words, they're contradictions that make language pop. Like bittersweet, how can something be bitter and sweet at the same time? It's like a poetic paradox. Or jumbo shrimp, big or small? These phrases play with our minds, adding depth and intrigue to our words. So next time you come across an oxymoron, embrace the beautiful contradiction it holds within. Dive into the world of English literature, where words dance in delightful disharmony. Today at English Maths Academy, we dove into the world of literary devices. From similes to foreshadowing, we explored 15 powerful tools that bring stories to life. For example, in To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee uses symbolism to represent innocence through the mockingbird. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your feedback with us. Let's keep learning together.
If you want to learn more, choose any video here, and keep analyzing. For more valuable classes, please check the description playlists. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Mastery Academy for more enriching content on mastering the English language. Until next time, happy learning!